The 82nd Airborne was moving far too slowly, and General Schwarzkopf, aware of the danger to the students and the mission, was forced to improvise from his command post on the USS Guam.
The progress on the ground was extremely slow. That terrain is terrible. The heat was terrible. The enemy was there. The Guam was sitting right off the coast, and you could look off the side of the aircraft carrier, and there was Grandance. I mean, it was there. You could see it. And one of the things that you saw was a wide open spread of white beach that would make an ideal helicopter landing zone. The other thing you saw was sitting right there on the deck of this aircraft carrier were all these helicopters. So as I say, it didn't take any great military genius to figure out that, gosh, why don't we take the helicopters that we have here, load some forces on board, fly right in from the sea, land right there, and you got perfect landing zones, and run an air assault operation and rescue the students. In 26 minutes, we evacuated 224 students without a single casualty of the students and only one light wounded on the part of the Rangers. It was absolutely a classic operation and came off without a hitch and was a great success.
USA. You owe one hell of a lot of thanks to these guys who went in and got you out.
In Washington, there was a celebratory press conference.
The second campus of the medical college has been evacuated completely with no casualties.
Now that's from my point of view, the best news of all, because that means that all of the students are now out and safe. And that is a very, very great relief, and that's, again, one of the things that I think was extremely skillfully done.
Secretary Weinberger was wrong. In fact, there were more than 200 students still awaiting rescue on Grenada. Their safety was now in the hands of the 82nd Airborne, then considered to be the Army's premier fighting force. But the 82nd was clearly unprepared for the conditions in Grenada. There were obvious morale and leadership problems, even though the opposition had been reduced to no more than sniper fire since the first day of the invasion.
Civilian population seems to want us here. They come down, they give us cokes, they give us fucking rum. And then at night, they fucking shoot at us, blow us away. Not even sure why we're here.
If they had brought you into the mission, told you this is Grenada, we're fighting the New Jewel movement, this is what we're going to be doing day one, day two, would that have made you a better soldier?
Would we have fought it with better morale and with more fortitude, are you saying? It probably would have. But like I said, we just knew. We got down there and said, well, you got to shoot at this guy. We're going to get these students out. It was too disorganized. We didn't actually know what we were fighting for. And yeah, that would have helped out a lot. There would have been a little bit higher morale with it. There had been a whole lot more fortitude put into it, intestinal fortitude, guts, in other words, put into it than what there was, not knowing what we were doing. And morale was low because we didn't know what we were doing. And even our senior officers didn't know what you're doing. When your senior officer doesn't know what you're doing, your morale drops pretty low.
Even those professional military experts who supported the invasion acknowledged the many serious leadership problems. William Lynn is a conservative and president of the Military Reform Institute in Washington.
Probably the worst performance overall was turned in by the 82nd Airborne Division, which managed with overwhelming superiority against a very poor quality opposition to advance about 5 kilometers in 3 days. Their tactics were bad. They had discipline problems. The performance of their commanding general was a little short of atrocious. Some serious problems there. It is a classic sign of bad infantry when as soon as they take fire, they hit the dirt and call for artillery or air support instead of maneuvering against the opponent. And that was routinely the practice of the 82nd Airborne units on Grenada.
They're going to call close air on the They're going to call close air on that damn Gulfport.
The key thing to consider when looking at Grenada is to recognize that our performance was, in many cases, not very good against absolute bottom-of-the-barrel opposition. That the situation we would face would be far more challenging in every respect if we were up against a first or even second-rate opponent. This is a fourth or fifth-rate opponent. So when we look at the performance on Grenada and people say, well, we did well because we won eventually, we have to say, fine, but the New York Police Department could have won on Grenada.
At its height, 9,600 American servicemen were committed to Operation Urgent Fury. On Thursday, October 27th, as the 82nd Airborne continued its search, the President went on television to proclaim victory.
I can't say enough in praise of our military, Army Rangers and paratroopers, Navy, Marine, and Air Force personnel, those who planned a brilliant campaign and those who carried it out. Almost instantly, our military seized the two airports, secured the campus where most of our students were, and are now in the mopping up phase.
Among those listening to the President's speech were many of the students still awaiting rescue.
I have to count Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
4 days.
Yeah, we waited for 4 complete days before we finally were able to leave Grenada. This is day 4 of the invasion after Reagan's speech that everything was under control. Actually, we had an American flag on the roof and been waving at the planes and hadn't seen an American, with the exception of the 29 people in our house, for those 4 days. We were finally evacuated on Friday afternoon. It was really sort of comical because the U.S. Army had expected to find something. They had heard maybe there were 6 or 7 students back in Lansepine, our neighborhood, and in fact, about 100 students came out of the bushes once they came out and let us know it was time to leave.
In all, a total of 595 medical students were evacuated from Grenada by helicopter. With their rescue, the United States had fulfilled its stated objective. The students were safe. The revolutionary government was overthrown. The human costs of this brief war were at least 45 Grenadians killed and 337 wounded. 21 of the dead were patients of a mental hospital that was accidentally bombed by a U.S. Navy plane. 24 Cubans died. 59 were wounded. At least 19 Americans were killed and 116 were wounded, 85 of them seriously. They had gone to war knowing almost nothing about their enemy. The invasion of Grenada began as a war of words. In the end, it was celebrated by the government, the press, and many people as an American victory, and it helped re-elect an immensely popular president.
One year ago, we liberated Grenada from communist thugs who had taken over that country. I am proud also to say that during these last 4 years, not 1 square inch of territory in the world has been lost to communist aggression. America is back.
After the invasion, behind closed doors at the Pentagon, the military rigorously examined its failures on Grenada. These classified meetings focused on the 82nd Airborne, the major ground forces of the invasion. Units of the 82nd were reorganized. Some senior officers